Hey, what's up? My name's Justin. Welcome to 65 Drums. Today I'm doing my first impressions of Superior Drummer 3. So this is going to be a really simple overview where I basically run through the software, show you the basic pros and cons of it. Is it worth upgrading from Superior Drummer 2? I actually own that software also and I upgraded, so I'm going to give my thoughts on that and then do some quick playing examples at the end of the video. A full, really in-depth review with point-by-point analysis of every single feature. That's going to come in a month or so from now when I've spent a lot of time with the software. All right, so let's jump into it. I actually want to start off on the desktop right here because I do want to mention that Superior Drummer 3 is a standalone program. You don't have to download Reaper or something in order to use it. You don't need a DAW or TuneTrack Solo. Now, this is important because the last program, Superior Drummer 2, you actually had to download this secondary program called TuneTrack Solo if you didn't already have a DAW. So I just wanted to mention that. Easy Drummer 2 is also a standalone program as well. Let's open up TuneTrack Product Manager for a second because I want to mention that this is a very large program. As you can see right here, Easy Drummer 2, it takes up one little module right here. Superior Drummer 2 takes up two modules. And then Superior Drummer 3 takes up this, and this. So it's like around 240 gigabytes or so. I've actually only downloaded about 200 gigabytes of this program. Now, the thing to know about this program is that it was recorded in 11.1. So it's not that it has every drum and cymbal on earth inside the program. It's that all the different mics, that takes up a lot of data, I guess you would say. So you can just install what you want, but to really take full advantage of the software, you'd probably want to just download everything. All right, so let's jump into the actual program. And the first thing you'll notice right here is that it actually just takes up the entire screen if you want it to, and that's awesome. With Superior Drummer 2, if I can shrink this down, this is how big Superior Drummer 2 was. It's not very big at all, and I would have to squint, and I didn't like it. I wanted to make it larger, and you literally couldn't enlarge the window at all. And it had these late 90s, early 2000s graphics to it, and it just looked kind of ugly in my opinion. Thankfully, Superior Drummer 3, it looks like it was actually made this year, so it looks very modern, and also the interface has been improved. You can sort of just bump around and kind of figure out where things are. So the interface has been improved, the graphics look a lot nicer. In fact, it looks very similar to Easy Drummer 2, if you've ever seen that program. So basically, I feel like they took the best features from Easy Drummer 2 and Superior Drummer 2 and sort of combined them in order to make this software right here. Also, want to mention the price for a second. Since I already have Superior Drummer 2, it was like $200 or 230 bucks or so for me. If you just bought it, right out the gate, it would be like $400 or $500, which sounds incredibly expensive because it is. But at the same time, a drum module like a Pearl Mimic that would sort of compete with it as far as sound quality goes, that would cost you over $2,000. So you're getting equivalent sound quality or even better than that, except you're getting it for a fraction of the price. I know Pearl Mimic would be more convenient, but this, you'll basically get it done for a lot less money, and you'll get just as good of a program, just as good as sounds, except I feel like Superior Drummer 3 sounds better than Steven Slate Drums 5, which is currently in the Mimic. So let's jump into it and talk about some of the features. Starting off with the mixer here, this can be really intimidating to look at because you got so many mics here. Just the kick drum by itself has three mics, kick in, kick out, kick sub. And then you got two mics for the snare. If you're new to VSTs, this can be very intimidating. But the good news is you don't have to see all of it at once. You can just look at the subs, so you can or the buses actually. If you load up a preset, for example, I really like this metal preset Degen style, and it's going to take a very long time. Over here, you can see how much has been loaded. If we jump over here to drums, this is what the drum set looks like, and it's going to be about 4 gigs. So this is going to be longer of a load time for this particular drum than loading something inside of the Alesis Strike. I complain about the load times in Alesis Strike, but the load times are actually worse in Superior Drummer 3 if you're loading a 4 gigabytes drum set. A bunch of the other drum sets are even closer to 1 gig, so it just depends on which preset you're loading. And also, when you click on the kick drum right here, this thing has 3 layers. It's 3 different kick drums all combined. The snare, 3 snares. The toms, they're all single. So yeah, it's mostly the snare and the kick that they layered to get this really cool sound to it. All right, so going back to the mixer, as you can see, now that I've loaded this preset, all of a sudden you've got EQ, you've got all kinds of compression effects, and they've done all this routing and stuff. They've done a lot of work for you. So on the one hand, you can just play to the raw samples, just the recording them, hitting the drum, you can play that if you want. Or you can, go through all these presets and just have someone else do all the work for you. They do all the compression, they clean up the sound and make it sound punchy and all that stuff. And like I said earlier, you don't have to see all the mics. If you click on the mics, you can see them. If you click them on again, they go away. And if I click on that, that goes away. And I can just look at the buses right here. So I can just have one volume slider for all the kick drum mics and everything, one volume slider for all of the snare drums, one for the toms. And I can apply compression to all of those as a group. So you can make your life a little bit simpler if you don't want to have that clutter on the screen. So going back here to drums, this software, it works very similar to most of the VSTs you probably messed with. So if I click on the snare and I click up here, I'll see a drop down of all the snares right there. And you've got a ton of great stuff. You got Tama, GMS, you got Sonar, you got Ludwig, you got Yamaha, you got Pearl, you got a lot of great snares in here. And this was a big problem with the previous version, Superior Drummer 2. It didn't have enough drums. It had a good selection of snares, but as far as how many drums were in the library, it didn't have enough drum sets, physical drum sets. So I felt like, I could, download Superior Drummer 2, but I'd have to go download an expansion pack the very next day just to have a nice collection of drums to be able to cycle through and not get bored playing around with. Superior Drummer 3 sort of fixed that. I feel like they could have had a few more items, like there are not enough China cymbals in this collection. But they do give you enough to work with. You're not going to be dying for an extra crash cymbal or something. They do have a nice selection here. And the cool thing about this is that you can access every other version of every other TuneTrack software you've ever bought and any expansion pack for anything else. If I click on this cymbal right here, I can choose between these cymbals right here underneath the drumsticks tag. But if I go for search for instruments, I actually have access to all of my Easy Drummer sounds from the modern and the vintage library and all of the New York avatar. I have access to all of those cymbals as well. And then of course, all the Superior Drummer 3 cymbals. One thing that I noticed was that Superior Drummer 3 cymbals, it's a lot of Zildjian, Paiste, and Istanbul cymbals. Over here, on the Superior Drummer 2, it was like all Sabian pretty much. So I found that very interesting. They just dropped Sabian cymbals for the new collection. Now, I'm really glad that I actually have access to all these other libraries because there are some really cool cymbals that just aren't inside of Superior Drummer 3 that I want access to. Like there's a really cool China cymbal around here somewhere. If we go over here to settings and then go to MIDI Drums, this is where you'll get to this screen right here. The really sweet thing about this software is the fact that they give you a lot of options to make sure this works decently with electronic drums. If we press Use Preset, we click here and now we have all these electronic drum manufacturers. I have a Roland TD30 drum module, so I go down here to Roland. They have like every module Roland has ever made. They got the TD10 and the TD10 with the expansion board, so they've thought of everything. And then if we go over here to hi-hat and snare, these are the two ones you're probably going to want to dial in just to get it perfect. So you can actually click on hi-hat, and as you can see, there's 8 degrees of control here. So you have tight, closed, and then 6 degrees of open. So if you want the open hi-hat sound to happen when you press down the pedal just so, you can hold that position on the hi-hat pedal and then just drag these little dots until you get the hi-hat to respond at that velocity, at that exact amount of pressure you're putting on the hi-hat pedal. That's really cool. If we go over here to snare drum control, a lot of the snares, they actually are multi-zoned. And yeah, and then over here, no, velocity. I need to click on a drum in order to access that. But basically, if I hit my snare and then we click on velocity, now that we've selected the snare, I can actually draw a velocity curve for that snare and then save that as a preset. If you want to have it more dynamic, you want to hear more soft hits and stuff, all you got to do is drag this down a little bit. And now it takes you a little bit harder hits in order to hear a harder hit. So if I wanted it to not have much definition, for example, if I want to be lazy with my kick drumming and I want every single hit detected to be like a 100% velocity hit, I can go like that. And now every time I play my kick drum, it sounds like I'm an incredible speed metal drummer. There's a lot of flexibility here in drawing the velocity curve exactly how you want it to be. I don't want to go really in depth here because again, I want to do more of an in-depth thing for the review. I would say that this software is 100% worth looking into because the sounds are pretty much second to none. They're recorded in a really famous studio, 11.1. Any miking stuff that you want, it's all there. And the sound quality, the cymbal selection, it's all very good. The drum selection is very good as well. You'll probably eventually want to, download an expansion pack at some point. But as far as stock sounds, they do give you a lot of choices here. I'm also really liking the integration with electronic drums. They took it a step further from what they used to do. They used to just give you access to clicking on what brand of drum set you have. I don't believe they gave you a module designation, but now you can actually choose the drum module so it can map it even more specifically for your exact specific drum set. You can really see all the work they put into this software. So what I want to do now is just play some kit examples, give you a general idea of what it sounds like, mostly just using presets. I'm not going to spend 5,000 hours, going in and dialing everything in, but just give you a general idea of what it sounds like and then give some final thoughts after the playing. So see you then. Again, I'll probably do more in-depth playing examples, really going in detail with more presets, but you get a ton of them. And I just drop down this menu right here, you can see that I got at least 100 of them. I will say a bunch of them suck. Like some of these down here, a lot of these like electronics type things, they just sound kind of dumb. They put some really strange effects on them. So the number of presets doesn't necessarily mean quality, but they do have a ton of quality presets, and they have a ton of quality snares, cymbals, kick drums, and everything. So everything sounds great. I really have been enjoying the software. If you've got the money, I feel like a $200 upgrade, if you already have the previous version, is definitely worth it. If you want to jump into drum software and you want to get the best of the best, this is something you should look at. This and Steven Slate Drums 5, when that comes out in a month or two, those are your two things that you're going to have to go look at and sort of compare and figure out which one is the best for you. If you own Superior Drummer 3, or even if you've just tried it at a friend's house, give me like a little mini paragraph review down in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts on this as well. And one more thing before you guys go, just wanted to mention that I just started a Patreon page for 65 Drums. So if you really enjoy the channel, want to help support it, and possibly get your name in every single video, get behind the scenes footage, and also the secret link to actually see the video before anyone else, all that is down in the description below. Go check out the link. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in a few.